Hello and welcome back to another VOD review. Today we are doing something that was similar to last week. We are reviewing a tank player. If you want to introduce yourself, Mountain.
Hey there, I'm just your average silver Winston main, trying to get better. Excited to learn from you.
Is there anything like specific that you think you're doing wrong, or is it more generalistic?
I'm honestly not sure. Like, I think that's one of the things I'm hoping to gain from this is a better sense of like the fundamentals that I'm missing. I assume being so low rated that there's some really fundamental issues with my play. So the more we can identify those things, I feel like that'll give me a better way to evaluate my own gameplay moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, I think something that's really important for a lot of lower level players is that there's this kind of idea of awareness, and then you have to be aware of everything that's going on, but the way that the human brain functions, it doesn't necessarily do that, and there are ways to focus on the right things and kind of autopilot on the things that are very small and minute. I think that's a big problem that a lot of players have that are trying to learn this game because there are so many moving parts, and if you kind of joined late or you didn't really take it super seriously, it's hard to get right back on track.
Yeah.
But let's start talking about this. I want to see your comp first. This Roach guy still hasn't picked a character, so it's difficult for me to tell you exactly what's going on.
He loads in late.
Pick a character. Okay, now we have characters. So now that we have characters, let's talk about composition and kind of like what could be better, or like how you're supposed to be playing based off of this composition. So what is Winston? So here's the thing. Right now, there's two quote-unquote dive tanks. I don't really like thinking about it as dive because you're not really trying to jump, just strictly jump on a character. Dive is not one-dimensional, and I think a lot of lower-level players think that. But what's like the counterpart? If you don't want to play monkey into this composition, and you still want to play to surround the enemy, what's another character you could play? And if you get it wrong, I wouldn't really worry about it. It's just so that you can kind of learn it.
I would assume ball.
Yeah, so Wrecking Ball. But let's talk a little bit more in depth on like how these characters work, right?
Yeah.
And sorry about my mic. It's I need to oil it or something. This thing is so squeaky. But anyways, what does Winston need that is different from what Ball needs in terms of his supports?
I would say like longer range supports that can heal him.
That you could maybe argue that, but I mean, Ball also is going to be engaging from a lot of different places.
True.
But let's think about like health pools. Who, in theory, has more effective HP?
Ball, if he gets a good shield.
Yeah, if he gets a big adaptive shield, he also has a lot more mobility. So then, how does Winston need to be played with in terms of the supports? Would he need more healing or less healing than a Ball?
I would assume more healing.
He would need more healing, absolutely. So that's why in Overwatch League and Contenders, you're seeing Winston almost consistently being run with an Ana, because Ana is a very she's still aggressive like Zenyatta, but she's a little bit more chonky with the heals, for lack of a better term. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
And then the whole thing is with Winston is that you're trying to build nano so that you can just jump in with Monkey and get stuff done.
Okay.
In this composition, I would argue that Ball is a better pick than the Monkey here.
Okay.
Just because you don't have as much healing because you have that Zenyatta.
Yeah.
And you'll just have a lot easier of a time to live because Mercy's not going to be healing you either. I think Ball sustains a lot better in this composition, so I think we might find problems of where you're going to jump in and be like, I already have to get out because I don't have any healing.
Gotcha. Okay, that totally makes sense.
And Monkey is by no means an easy character. There's a lot of people that still don't understand that character, so like if you think the game is hard, I mean Monkey is probably the hardest tank beside like Ball, and Reinhardt can be difficult sometimes in the one-on-one too for main tanks.
Okay.
But like I said, the other thing that I do want to let you realize is that dive is not about just jumping on people. Whenever you get the chance to, and whenever you say 3, 2, 1, jump on BAP, and that just doesn't work all the time. To be quite honest, most of the time anymore it doesn't work because you have characters like Brig, you have characters like Hanzo that can just blow you up, Cassidy on a sleep dart, it can get very hectic very quickly. So the big thing that you want to make sure that you're doing, even if it's on Monkey, is forcing the enemy's cooldowns out, and you typically do that by forcing them into unfair positions for themselves. So like, again, surrounding them in a circle. That's a great way to think about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a circle every single time on every single comp, but the more that you can surround them and force them off of positions is good.
Okay.
The other thing, before we move on to kind of the rest of the VOD review, because I'm gonna apply all these concepts that I'm trying to teach you, is that if you are trying to jump someone like, I don't know, like an Honor, this is easier to visualize with the Baptiste, you don't always have to hard engage with your jump and then stay there. You could in theory path there without using jump. Let's say that the Ana is here, and you like take a path around walking to her. You force out her nade and her sleep dart, and then you use the jump to go out. It's called a soft dive, in which you're not trying to hard commit to eliminate the target. You're only going in to force cooldowns out, and then it's astronomically easier for your other DPS, aka the Genji or the Doomfist, to go in and clean up the Ana.
Gotcha.
You're creating the opportunity for them, and then they have to take it. And if they don't, even if they're not good at the game, and they're not like good with aiming, and they can't finish a kill normally, it's nearly impossible to fail killing a support that has no utility left. It's almost impossible for them not to succeed there.
That makes sense.
So
Can I ask
everything
you a question?
Yeah, what's up? Go ahead.
You said like the goal of playing Winston is to force these cooldowns by putting enemies into a bad position. And you mentioned like engaging in a circle. What do you mean by that?
So, did you watch my Brig Zen for Dummies guide?
No.
I would suggest doing so, but then talking to me after you watch it so that I can fill you in on a few things that I missed.
Okay.
I would say for anyone that's like that has never played the comp before, it would be very helpful, but there's a lot of intricacies that I specifically left out so that it wouldn't like clog people's brains.
Okay.
And some people did call me out on that, and like honestly, like they're kind of right that I didn't put in all the intricacies, but at the same time, it's like I hope that I could help. I want to see if it actually helps gold players, and then if I have to redo it, I will, because I don't know how important those intricacies are, but let me know. The big thing is like surrounding the enemy in terms of like different units is kind of how I would think about it. The thing is, it's difficult to say that it's units on every single comp, because this comp doesn't necessarily function that way because you don't have Zen Brig. It's Zen Mercy. It's more so that like let's take this from a third person view. So are you like confused about how you would do it, or like why you would do it?
I think I'm trying to understand like what you mean by circle.
So like let's say that they're on Brawl. Yes. Okay. So like let's say that they're on Brawl, which they are. This Reinhardt here, and let's say that they are all, since they should be stacked, they're all right here walking to points. You would then realize that they are in rotation, and then you as Monkey could be like here with like I don't know Doom like back here ready to slam here.
Gotcha.
And then having like Zen Diva here, Genji here, and then you can all just kind of like poke them out from all angles, and they really can't do anything. The only thing that they can do is they can go here, and then what happens is I don't know. Can I? Okay, well, you can still see this. What happens is that unit there needs to go backwards, and the unit that's behind them mirrors the enemy's movement. This is called ping pong. I didn't say anything about it in the Zen Brig for Dummies guide, because it's for dummies, so you know this stuff isn't necessarily the most important to. Well, it's very important, but it's not the easiest to bring down. But does that kind of make sense?
That totally makes sense. I see it now. Yeah.
So once you get them surrounded, it's just a matter of realizing that you've already won and then taking the right steps to close it out. It's like if I was a GM chess player, I know all the moves to force out the king. It's just a matter for me to actually do it. And if I know the 15 move set to actually like get it done, which is insane that they can learn that, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Now, obviously in gold, I'm going to bet that most of these people on your team probably don't watch Paz, and they probably don't understand that they have to surround and do that, because dive is a very difficult comp to understand. So it's not going to function perfectly all the time, which is why I'm here to try to help you out and like give you the processes to think through, but not necessarily give you all the answers.
Okay. Yeah, it's super helpful.
So do you have any questions before we move on into the VOD?
No.
All right, so let's get over the concepts and let's actually start teaching. So Winston's all about, forcing out cooldowns and positioning and like taking control of important positions on the map. So what are like the two, let's go back here because now we're talking about the map and not necessarily just macro. What on this map is important for you to take control of early as Monkey?
The high ground over there on the right side.
You can jump up here, or if you had like a 6-man composition, which is like Moira, Lucio, Reaper, Sombra isn't really true 6-man, or like Sombra, Tracer. I would argue that you'd want to take this position down here and just kind of hold it.
Gotcha.
Because you have a more brawly composition. I think in this case, I'd probably want to take top right. It depends on what they have, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let's keep going. All right. So let's kind of see how you do this. I'm hoping that you just immediately take that jump onto the high ground. So like right here, you have to kind of think about like what they have and try to look for what they have. Honestly, what I would do if I'm going to try to take the high ground is just like, I think going over here and scouting out is fine, but I want to see like where you're looking. The big things that you want to look for is like this angle right here to see if they're going that way. If they're not going that way, you can pretty much just jump on this high ground for free. It's not like you necessarily have to either. Like you could arguably also just peek around this corner here until you actually see them and then jump up there. But the thing is, I want you to guide your eyes towards kind of the big things to look for. So like this area here, this area here, and maybe this area here if they were already pushed on point, which I doubt it. Okay. But the thing is that I want you to kind of, I can't tell what you're looking at because I'm just assuming it's the reticle because like that's normal.
Yeah, I was looking in that right pocket over there.
Okay. So like right here, that's instantly diving because she doesn't have coach gun. She now doesn't have dynamite. Right here, you did everything that you really could. Okay. The only thing I would say is tell your team that you're gonna like let's jump this Ashe on high ground. I mean your Zen discorded it. The only reason she didn't die is literally because your Genji decided not to dash on it. But you need to be able to communicate to that and like tell them like, hey, this Ashe is so free on high ground so that maybe this Genji capitalizes.
Okay. Okay.
The big thing with main tank, and especially Winston in his current state, is that you have to communicate like what you're doing with your team, especially if they don't really understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing.
Gotcha.
Dropping off high ground here, I'm not so sure about, only because you didn't have a DPS. I would arguably maybe keep the high ground, but we'll kind of see where it takes you.
Okay.
But yeah, you're still forcing it out, which is totally fine. I would then... Okay, never mind. You're jumping to the health pack. That's totally fine. Yeah, honestly, both at the... Oh, wait. I didn't mean to do that. Honestly, like... What am I doing? Wait, where are we? Okay, let's... Okay, here. Honestly, what I would say is just, like, keep the high ground there, and your diva kind of just fed, too.
Okay. Okay.
Because you're not going to kill that. And you've already forced out everything you kind of need to. If you had a monkey... If you had another DPS there, I would say yeah, but, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, big thing. Big thing mechanically... What should you do every time before you land a jump?
Melee.
Yes. Make sure you do that literally every time. It is so... It is such a big deal. Like, I'm telling you straight up, this Ashe would be half health if you had done that. And, like, you need to do it. I understand that it might seem small, because, like, oh, 35 damage is 35 damage. Or, I think that's what it is. The thing is you need to be doing that every single jump, because it seriously makes a difference in terms of your solo carry potential, which in gold as tank is super important that you can be consistent about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you arguably kill her if you would do that.
Yeah.
So right there, you're just forcing her out, and you're retaking high ground. I don't know if that is necessarily the right play. I think what would have been better, I mean, step one, the Hanzo was kind of low over here, so I think you probably could have just walked over here, tried to kill, and then jumped over here. Gotcha. I think that's the most optimal. while the fight might be lost, you kind of have to understand like what your team's trying to do with it. Because right here, it just kind of seems like, okay, fight lost. I'm just gonna run away. I would never really do this play. If anything, I would have jumped over here to get a better idea of what's going on, and then try to jump again.
Okay.
I think the best course of action was to just walk on Hanzo over here, try to kill him, and jump up here. And if that wasn't it, I probably would have just walked around this corner and tried to like be a tank and stall out until your team gets back.
Okay.
But running away, I kind of disagree with, because like while the fight might seem lost, it doesn't mean you should just leave, because people are still fighting on point, and I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I have a hard time like gauging the difference between giving up and feeding.
So right here, yeah, you jump top. That's really good. That was a good melee. You forced her off, and now you can just chill. I don't think you need to go back. I think you can kind of look at like what is your next target. What does my team need help with? For example, this Reinhardt's in there. I would have just started walking on this Rein, or at least maybe bubbling this angle right here, so that healing gets cut off. Because if healing gets cut off, the Rein's going to die.
Okay.
You could still be a big tank. You don't need to be super scared. Okay, you end up jumping on the Ana. That's totally fine. I'd be bubbling right away. This is fine. Just bubble. You need a bubble dance on the outside a little bit more better, so that you're not taking too much damage. It was kind of a poor placement, unlucky because of the map. But I just want to put that in your mind. Let's see where we go on with this. Okay. Okay, primal range. Yep, that's good. Doesn't have sleep dart. Make sure that you confirm those kills. It kind of looked like she was gonna die, but she didn't.
Oh, she didn't. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I totally thought that she got hit into the cars and was gonna die.
So like this is one of those reasons why I think Ball's better, so that you don't have to do this and you don't have to jump out for health packs, because Ball has better mobility for him to do that and then get right back. Winston does not.
Gotcha.
So like now effectively you're out of the fight for like a really long time, like 7 seconds, and now your team already died by the time that you got back.
Yeah.
And the point was flipped. At this point, this is when I would say jump out. You don't have point.
Okay. So yeah, so like what should I have? I'm trying to think like what do I do differently there?
So
do I sit on the Ana and then come back in later, or do I? Yeah, I don't know.
You don't want to go out of the fight, especially if you're on 300 HP. Definitely don't need to do that.
Okay.
So, I mean, if we really want it to be nitpicky here, this Ana, you make sure that she dies if you're going to primal and boop her into traffic. Like, you need to make sure that Ana dies.
Okay.
When you bubble this here, like, better bubble dancing. Honestly, there's a lot of things you could have done better. Like, for example, this Reinhardt that was here before, you could have walked over here and bubbled. That Rein dies. If not that, and you do the other play right here, you force out the Ana's util, and then you just stay there and keep pressuring her. And then, I mean, you continue to do that, which was fine, and it kept the fight going. When you primal, you actually kill this Ana instead of letting her go, because then she gets to walk back here, and now no one's dying still.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, I mean, after that, I think you jumped on the high ground to take this ash off of it. That was good. The thing that was the nail in the coffin was, I don't know why you had 300 HP and you're walking back here. Like, you just don't need to.
Okay. Okay.
Again, it'd be a lot easier to understand that you don't need to do that if you had Ana, but you don't. You have Zen. So,
okay.
Let's go on here. So right here, you're just chilling. I would try to bubble the Reinhardt whenever you can.
Okay.
Do you understand why?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, if their Ana is alive. Now, if their Ana isn't alive, bubbling the Rein isn't really helpful.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that if you're trying to kill a monkey, it's almost like discording him in a way. Okay. Lucky you missed the jump. Even though you're not like an aiming character on Winston, I would still try to practice like keeping your targets locked on.
Okay.
Because it'll make it easier to read their movement and kind of like see where you should move. It's more about like helping you move rather than aiming per se.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is fine. You don't have bubble though, so that's really aggressive. And now you're just trying to play to live. That's way too high of a jump. It needs to get somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you understand that in terms of trajectory and like It needs to go somewhere because the Hanzo's just gonna snipe you out of the sky if you do that.
Yeah, my thought was I should have jumped back, like, towards the outside of the map, near the cars, instead of up over.
You could have done that. There's a lot of different paths you could have taken. Okay. You jump on the Ash. See, like right there, you weren't like hard aiming on this Ash, so you kind of lost track of her.
Yeah.
So even though you are a tank and you don't really need to aim, you kind of do so that you stay aware. And it's something that you can kind of just do on autopilot. Okay. It's a decent primal rage, but you have to understand that you can't just hard engage on an Ana if she has sleep. You need to force that out somehow.
Okay.
So you do that by maybe jumping in before primal and bubbling it, and then primaling when you have that opportunity to. Because then when you're in primal, you get jump every 2 seconds. You're going to have that jump again if you really need it.
Yeah, okay.
So big things right now, because I know that I'm kind of content dumping you. The biggest thing is just like kind of the macro understanding of what Winston is, and it's all about like forcing cooldowns and not necessarily killing everything on your own, but like forcing people into bad positions.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's starting to click.
So like that is a big thing. So like for example, the good ways that you do this are the ways that all the YouTubers tell you to do it. Hey guys, if you want to get out of gold, take high ground. Yeah. That's literally what more than half of the content creators will say because they just want free views, and it's true. Take high ground and you'll win games. Because when you take high ground, this is what they don't tell you. You force Ash off the high ground, that's great, but then what's next? Like, what is next that I have to do? Oh, well, just jump the Ana, I guess, but then the Ana sleeps you and you die when she shouldn't really get to sleep you because you're on Monkey and you have a shield and, you know, you'll be fine. Like, it's all, like, you're good at doing it when it's high ground, but you need to think about it in a more holistic sense of, like, how you're going to force everyone's cooldowns and how you're going to force everyone into bad positions.
Okay, okay.
Because tank, I mean, at least Monkey isn't really about killing everyone. If you wanted to do that, you'd just play Roadhog. Or you'd wait for Overwatch 2 and play Doomfist. If it ever comes out, though, which we'll see.
We will.
Okay, but yeah, you get up there, they for some reason wake you up and you do end up getting the kill. Okay, yep, you get the mini. I would argue you don't need to get Mega right now, you just need to look for picks because the fight's already pretty much over. Right here. If my Mercy is rezzing, what am I doing? I am jumping on my Mercy. I'm jumping on my Mercy, and I am bubbling her and trying to kill a squishy that just jumped on her.
Gotcha.
I am not looking at the Ash. I'm looking at the most important thing, which is my Mercy rezzing in the middle of everyone.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even see that. So can I ask you kind of a dumb question?
What's up?
How do I like? It's interesting because a lot of this stuff is like it's so obvious when you say it, but it's like in the middle of my game, like to be honest, and this will make me sound really dumb. I didn't even see that Mercy was rezzing there. So do you have any tips for kind of? I mean, I know that's kind of a dumb question, but
like yeah. I think an important thing is look at your crosshair as kind of like your eye, and this is what it's looking at. I really like. Here's the thing. This might be kind of like hocus pocus. I don't even know, like folktale type stuff where it might not even be true. But I think learning to like look at the places that are most important, where things are going to be happening, is kind of it might help you. It might. Yeah. For me, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I don't think I've had this kind of problem of like what I should be looking for at a specific time, because it's just like it's one of the things that I was innately good at when I first started learning the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I was also support, so everything was in front of me, so I didn't have to go looking. The big thing is like you have two options here. You have this and you have this. I don't know. Like let's take this back maybe a little bit more. Like, have you ever played Valorant?
Just a little bit.
Are you any good at it?
No.
I think a lot of that might be because of your crosshair placement, and you're not exactly sure what you're supposed to be doing. Like what you're what's important to be looking at. Okay, so like right here, you get the health pack. You clear that angle. You look at this angle. You look there, and then right here. I don't know, like.
Should be able to see that.
I feel like what was happening was your crosshair was here, but you were still looking over here because you're like, ooh, Ash. Instead of, because like that means like that when I'm looking at the screen, if I look at that Ash right now, I can totally see how you missed that Mercy resing.
Yeah.
Because that is in your attentional, that's not in your attention spotlight.
Yeah.
Which is like how in cognitive psychology I've learned, like we've just recently learned, like that you have when you're hyper focusing on something, you have this like almost attention spotlight that will focus in on specific things, and the stuff outside of that attention spotlight will be blurry. So like me right here, I could totally, like for me, I can see the color, and since I played the game so much, I'm like, okay, yeah, my Mercy's rezzing. That's something I need to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone that might not like be aware of that and doesn't have that connection on how important that is, might still just see, oh look, Ash, I killed DPS as monkey. They're squishy. I kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's it exactly.
That's probably what I'm trying to say. Like looking where your crosshair is for a little bit and trying to like guide where you're looking might help you. I mean, I've seen other people from other games kind of teach this way in terms of crosshair placement, and like it should be where you think players are going to be. I think it would help in this situation, but I've never really told someone this. I think in theory it would help.
Yeah, I mean,
because,
I think so as well, because what's going on with the Mercy, it's like if I jump there, I'm not at a numbers disadvantage, and then I can also help create an opportunity.
Yeah, by no means do I think that you... I think you know that this is a better jump.
Yeah.
I think it's more so the fact that you weren't attenuating it. I don't even know if that's what you call it.
I mean, I honestly,
you were looking at this. You were looking at this stimulus rather than this one, which I think if you were actually looking at your crosshair, you probably would have seen this and been like, "Holy shit! I should just jump this Hanzo so she doesn't die."
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking you were looking at this, but I have no way of knowing for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm fairly certain I was. I played that game recently, and that's where I turn in a second. Would it be better for me to think about this, and maybe this is an oversimplification, but as look at my teammates first, or look at key areas on the map first? Like, if you're going to make it a rule to practice, or is that an oversimplification?
The thing is with Overwatch is that it is situational in literally every different moment. It's always situational, and you have to understand the concept more so than you do the memorization of the scenario.
Okay.
It's not like Valorant where you're gonna have a set play and you just have to execute it. I mean, it kind of is at the highest level, but at this point, it's like if that was a Mercy that was 1 health and she was about to get shot by Hanzo, like maybe I don't jump on that and I try to look for a big play.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if that's like a soldier or something and he's just kind of trolling. I would say honestly, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably jumping this Hanzo because I can probably kill that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also help my teammate out at the same time, but it's not like every single time you're going to be playing for just your teammates. Because there are times in which this could be like a 1 health Ash right there, and you could totally justify jumping on an Ash right there.
Mm-hmm.
You could totally justify that.
Okay.
It's what I'm gonna say is it's situational, and you don't want to seclude yourself to only one answer ever.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, you do end up actually looking after that Ash, and then it's gonna get you hooked probably, or forcing out that. Okay, you jump on high ground. This is actually fine. You can poke from up here.
Okay.
I'm relatively certain that if you looked at this Reinhardt, you could poke with Tesla Cannon, and that's probably the correct play as in terms of positioning.
Okay.
Instead of giving up this high ground that you just jumped to. And then yeah. When you're on Winston, never go next to a hog ever. You just kind of learned why.
Yeah.
He has big shotgun and hook that destroys monkey very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, you jump on point. It's a decent bubble. You gotta start playing in it though. You're just kind of chilling. Remember what I said? Don't shoot hog, but what did you just hear to your right when you were at this position here? Oh, actually, you didn't. You can't hear. Well, a sleep dart just flung past your head. So the immediate thing that you should be looking for is where's the sauna and how can I poke her out? Because now she doesn't have sleep to mess you up. I know you can't hear that now, but like that's just one of the things.
Yeah.
And understand that just never look at monkey when you're on or not, never look at Roadhog when you're on Monkey unless that Roadhog is 1 with no vape and he's antied. Then you can start looking at him.
Okay.
So like right here, like I think that you can look at that Ryan a lot easier, and when you eventually need to jump, you can just quick flick up. I don't think you need to be like pulling your crosshair away. I think it's making it harder for you, honestly.
Okay.
Okay, and now you're just Tesla. All right, you're up. Cool. That was a fast jump. Now you just need to play for heals, and no one heals you. Whatever. Your position could have been better on the other side, of, like over here.
Okay.
But, like whatever. It's nitpicky.
Okay.
Probably lose this fight. Cool. Do you have any questions before we go on to point 2?
No. This is helpful. I think one of the themes I'm identifying here is like, in general, it's just like lack of awareness, and it's like what's happening around me is. I think it's like you described. Like I have this tunnel vision on what I think is the right play instead of constantly trying to reevaluate what's going on around me, and I think that that's something that I can focus on improving, like with VODs and stuff.
I think. I mean, I used to think of attention like that until I'm like, just to fill you in. I always keep saying that I'm like, in this one psych class I have, I'm taking cognitive psychology this semester, and there's a lot of things that are kind of like bogus that people teach on YouTube, or like they're not. It's like this myth about attention, and that like people have a set amount of attention. Or like a set amount that their attention will provide them, which is true, but I think they think it's more of like an innate ability that's genetic rather than something that you can learn. So the fact is not that you don't have good attention, because I mean, you have good attention, it's just that it's being allocated to the wrong things, and you need to know what you actually need to be paying attention to, and that's the problem here. Yeah. And that's the problem a lot of people have. They don't know what it is they're supposed to be paying attention to, and then they pay attention to the wrong things. Mm-hmm. Which was clearly indicated by the time where your Mercy was rezzing, and you didn't see that because you were looking at Ashe. You could say it's tunnel vision. I think it was just lack of knowing what were the possibilities and what you really should be looking out for, which I think is what you just said. But for the people that might be watching 32 minutes in, which I thank you guys all very much, you're all homies. I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's keep moving on here. Are you with me? Do you have any other questions?
No.
So let's look at Moira here. Is Moira a good character to play with Monkey?
I gotta be honest. I have no clue like what the nuances of comp building are, and like.
Well, okay.
You know,
well,
I have no idea. I've heard she's a decent healer for dive, but like I don't know.
So
if that's true or not.
Comp building is not rocket science. I'm gonna be telling you straight up. If you're on a team with that one dude that's the team captain, he's like 2,500. He's like 200 SR higher than everyone. Yo, guys, I'm the shit. I'm gonna tell you straight up. That dude isn't a rocket scientist, and neither is, well, there are a lot of rocket scientists that actually play this game, but it's not like it's that hard. Uh-huh. So the main thing is like, what does my character need to succeed, and then like what does their character need to succeed, and how can we play around that?
Uh-huh.
So like, what does Moira have?
I don't know.
No, you do. Trust me. Just start saying shit.
Fade
just start saying stuff. Okay, we got Fade. What else she got?
Coalescence.
Okay, what else she got in the neutral? Let's think about the neutral right now.
The orbs.
Yeah, and what else? What does her healing do? How much healing does she do? A lot, a little, a modest amount?
I don't know.
Comparatively to a Zenyatta, how much healing does she do?
I have no idea. I'm not being facetious. I just don't have the game knowledge.
She heals a lot more than a Zenyatta.
Okay.
A lot more. A lot.
Okay.
But what is the range? Is her orbs are kind of... We'll go over that.
Okay.
But I just want to keep going with this.
Okay.
So, do you know the range on Moira's heal?
No.
Is it as much as Zenyatta's range?
I would assume it's shorter.
It's a lot shorter, yes.
Okay.
Because Zenyatta can go pretty much... Well, I don't think it's infinitely, but it feels that way.
Okay.
So range is... I would say M for medium. So like, which pieces? Let's pick out 2 pieces of information that are most important to you when you're playing monkey.
Mm-hmm.
What are the 2 things that would concern you the most? Not concern you the most, but be like the most beneficial for you to kind of like play around. Not the most. What's going to influence your play on monkey the most when playing with this kid on Moira? Like, what 2 abilities are really important to understand?
I would assume the range of the healing, and then whether or not they can fade with me. You give me the answer though. I don't know.
Not fade. Pick one or the other.
Well, you circled M. What is that?
Okay,
for?
M is good.
Taking notes.
M
What
is
that?
range. M is range,
Okay.
which is good. Medium
Yeah.
range. You got
And then-
between orb and a lot of healing.
A lot of healing. Let's go with that.
Yes. Okay.
Because I
so
need that as opposed to ball, like we talked about earlier. With
Yes.
active HP. Got it.
Monkey can thrive a lot harder off of better heals, and that's really important. The thing is with Fade,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that helps. That wasn't kind of what I was going after, but like Fade at higher levels is nice to understand. But like I'm thinking of this in a selfish sense that I can kind of teach you how the composition works.
Yeah, for sure.
Orb, why is Orb not important? I mean, it's important, I guess, but like in terms of like the basic character, why is that not important?
I don't know that would impact like how I play around her.
Yeah,
opposed
no.
to
To be
Ana
honest, it impacts the way you play around her, sure.
Okay.
But the thing is, the main reason is because of the healing potential. Is like kind of the main reason why you can play. So
Okay.
now that we have A for a lot of heals, M for medium range, how do you have to play different on Monkey with, let's say, a Moira as compared to an Ana? Like what do you have to do differently than what you were doing last round?
Consider my proximity to her as opposed to just my LOS.
Yeah, like exactly.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you straight up, like, not a whole lot of people would understand that.
Okay.
But understand also that you have a lot more healing now.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
are you going to play to jump in a lot and, like, try to do those soft engages? Or are you going to play this more like a brawl composition and kind of just walk at people and use your jump to kind of get away?
Yeah, brawl more.
Yes, specifically that.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a Monkey and a Cassidy. And if this guy goes Lucio, you're on more of a brawl composition than a dive. I mean, you still can jump in. Don't get me wrong. When you have those opportunities, you should.
Yeah.
But just understand that that is kind of your approach, or should be your approach when you go in as Monkey into this comp.
Gotcha. Okay.
A lot of people don't understand that most characters are not one-dimensional, and they can be played a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways.
Okay. Can I ask you a question
Go
about
ahead.
this whole concept? Like, we're focusing a lot on the Zen or the Moira, or like presumably an Ana would be the other alternative here.
Yeah.
Why are we picking that character to focus like our playstyle around? Is that just because we don't have self-healing and we need to focus on our main healer, or
Okay, I'll answer this question quick. Let me just reset the music because the music just turned off.
Cool.
So there's 2 kinds of supports, right?
Yeah.
There's flex support
Okay.
and there's main support.
Yeah.
I don't want to go super in depth because I can literally just show you a video after this that'll make this so much easier for you, but just for the sake of like not keeping you in the dark.
Yeah.
Flex support consists of mostly Ana, Zenyatta, Moira, and Baptiste, while main support consists of Lucio, Mercy, and Brigitte. So Lucio, Mercy, and Brigitte are important to how you want to play, sure. But the thing is like I don't want to fixate on those because I think what's more important at this rank is kind of understanding what the flex support's playing.
Okay.
Because if they go Brigitte, I mean that most definitely affects the way you're gonna play, but it's not like as much as if you had like a Zen brig as opposed to like an Ana brig. Like I think the Zen or the Ana makes a lot bigger of a difference than the Monkey.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if you have a Lucio, you're going to be playing a lot faster. You need to walk in very quick, as opposed to a Brig where like you need to maybe play to like get your support ultimate so that you can then push in aggressively because you don't have the speed. Like that's still important in this composition. I think the Moira is just more important to understand that, especially as Monkey, because you need more heals as Monkey.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those heals, you need to play around in a way that is going to address that.
Yeah.
So that's why we're really going hard in the paint about that. I can send you a video series that might help you.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. It is pretty long, but I mean, maybe it'll help.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
is this good to keep going?
Yep. We're good.
So now that you're on Brawl, kind of, I'll try to tell you like things that might be able to help you. In terms of getting better at this, let's see. You guys definitely have the better Brawl, even though they have Ryan. Just because I don't know, I don't think Ashe and Hanzo are the best. So the big thing with Moira is that you need to try to stack your team as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
This isn't terrible, I guess, because I mean, in a way, you have them surrounded, so it's like, I guess it's not terrible. You just need to actually then walk in on that if you're gonna make that mistake. But I think just playing is. Oh, you have Ana now. Never mind. You're not even playing Brawl. Everything I said would still help, but now
Very
you're
helpful.
kind of like now you're going to be playing that dive composition kind of style again, just a lot more soft dives to try to get your on a nano and a gauge. But okay, well now you're kind of playing this around still. So right here, I'd probably bubble off the Ana. Yep. I don't know what she's doing, but that's cool. What's your sensitivity?
On Monkey, I push it up to. I usually play at like a really low sense.
I would arguably say pump that sense up, especially if you're a tank player, so that you can actually look around faster, because that was incredibly slow.
12.8 is what I'm playing at.
12.8 sensitivity. Do you know the DPI?
800.
Really? And you're moving that, dude? You need to whip that shit around more, man.
You know what? My cat likes to jump on my mouse pad. He may have been sitting on half of my mouse pad when that happened.
Gotcha.
And that may have been when I picked him up to set him down.
Okay. That was a good jump. Forcing out the DPS and killing him. That was good. Okay, you see the Mercy. She just used jump. You didn't use the jump though, which is fine because you knew that she was maybe going to Guardian Angel again, which is totally fine. Oh, she did. Alright, no, that was honestly, there were some things you could improve on, but I'm not going to nitpick those because I don't want to overload.
Okay.
That was a totally fine fight though. Okay, you're jumping in. That's really aggressive.
Okay.
But so if you're gonna make those jumps, you need to make sure that if you do eventually bubble, that you're playing around covers, so that when it eventually breaks, you still have a little bit of time to like get that jump back online.
Yeah.
So as opposed to jumping in here and then pushing up when you bubble, I would say that you almost play back here and try to poke them from back here, because they'll probably want to push a little bit higher. Like they'll probably push a little bit closer to here too.
Yeah.
You get that poke and then you can jump out.
Yeah, like playing at the choke or behind it instead of through it.
Playing around cover so that when your bubble breaks, you actually have a backup plan.
Okay. Okay.
Because then that would have bought you that extra 3 seconds to actually get the jump out without giving them an opportunity to kill you.
Okay.
Right there, you don't need to jump out.
Mm.
You can just kill that Reinhardt. He's one shot, and you also have cover. So the other thing about cover is you don't even need to jump out anymore unless they hard push you. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. I think I just got scared that Hanzo would blow me up or something.
Okay, so... Oh, that was a good eat. Alright. Holding this position, that's totally fine. You jump on him. Arguably didn't need to, but, like, I'll take it. Okay, that dude's throwing.
Yeah.
Alright, you're nanoed, you're just walking in. See, yeah, that's just good. Do you understand why, like, I say that you should be soft diving and playing for your nano and then just going in with nano?
Yeah, 100%.
Do we see how easy that was to just like I'm okay, like I'm not trying to roast you or anything, but like mechanically that was not challenging at all.
No, it wasn't.
You got nanoed and you walked in and pressed left click and you still weren't really even looking at anyone. You just kind of did it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, imagine if you would have looked at people, you probably would have gotten a 6K.
Okay.
I mean, that's like the next step up. But like, that's the importance of soft diving and not just hard diving every single fight. That's not how you play dive, but so many people think that's what you do.
Yeah,
It's actually
okay.
insane.
Okay. What do I do if I'm playing with an Nano that won't nano me? Or that
I mean,
doesn't?
then you know that sucks, but
Okay.
you gotta just play around it.
Okay, cool.
When she nanos someone else like a Doomfist, you have to make space so that the whole enemy team isn't looking at that Doomfist and is instead looking at you and forcing cooldowns on you.
Okay.
That's what you have to do.
You can fast forward past where I emote here. We don't need to, we don't need to embarrass me.
Peanut butter. But yeah, I mean, if Anana doesn't nano you, she's probably not the best at the game, but you kind of have to make do with it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, nanoing a Doomfist isn't the worst thing in the world here, but you need to kind of like know what you're doing. If it's nanoing a Doomfist, you need to make space for the Doomfist.
Okay.
Okay, right here, you still have your jump, so I mean, I'm okay with you poking this a little bit. I would just poke a little bit harder and like get more out of it.
Okay.
In terms of like, look at the character and shoot them. And don't be scared that you're not going to hit the jump out. It's a quick flick away. Just whip that shit.
Yeah.
Skrrr on that mouse pad. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're playing inside. Cool. He doesn't have shatter. Probably know that. I don't know. That's a good jump. Oh, that's unlucky. Okay, here's the thing. Even if he hooks you, I would immediately be jumping on high ground and going right back on that soldier because he probably thinks he's safe and is going to try to kill your team from up here, and he's a free boop. Yeah. So immediately go back to that. Don't even wait 2 seconds to do that. And just go for the jump. I don't even care if you jump off the map. You'll get better when you challenge yourself to do that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
You also
I should have jumped from the inside so I could have booped him out. That's what you're saying? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like, dude, just do a LeBron James bam!
Yeah.
LeBron James bam!
Okay, cool.
Instead of like walking at him here, because then you even set yourself up to boop him here, which doesn't even help. But if you go, dude, if you would have shook this guy, he would have been talking and he would have been crying in match chat if you went up here and just slam jam out of this world. That would have been crazy. But that's not what happened. No. And it should have happened immediately instead of like trying to boop away the Reaper. That would have destroyed you if he was better. Especially right after you got hooked, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, the soldier does end up actually dying. But at what cost? The enemy team now had high ground, forcing you out. Yep, forcing Reinhardt here when he's low. Yep, that's a decent bubble. Not really going too hard against what they have. Right here, I would be just jumping back on. That's totally fine to just live. All right, now you got a touch. Wow, I don't know how you guys lost this. Oh, you didn't lose it yet. Now you probably lost this. Yeah, unlike your team kind of do. I could say maybe you could be more aggressive and be more engaged in the fight, but I'm not going to nitpick that. I think the way that you played it was totally fine. Oh, right here, you're doing fine. Okay, you're trying to force out the soldier here. I think looking at the person would help you out a lot.
Yeah.
So you don't lose them. I think that's kind of a common theme.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, you jump up for heals. That's totally good. All right, you're nanoed. Oh, this is unlucky.
Yeah, good job.
That was a bad nano. All right, let's go next fight. Okay, let's bring it back at least a little bit. Just maybe see pathing. You got hooked. Unlock. Okay, you jump in. Okay, that's cool. You have primal though, so it's like not that big a deal. Gotta make sure you're trying to go for those melees and landing on people.
Yeah.
Okay, primal. Okay, you go on soldier. You need to like find a target and commit to it faster. I think. When you're primaling.
Okay.
I think booping the Reinhardt back was fine, but then you just kind of were like, oh, I'm giving up.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got you killed because you never really got any value with it.
Yeah. So that's something with primal that it's good to hear that because I'm never sure. Like, is it better to displace a bunch of people or just focus one person down in a corner?
I mean, it depends on the situation here. But if the Rhine's over here and the rest of his team is here, I mean, forcing that Rhine to a bad spot is okay. Or if you wanted to just jump on the Honest so the Rhine didn't get any heals, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Displacing everyone doesn't really help. I think singling out a target is just better in this situation. Maybe there is places where you could single or you could displace, but I don't know. I don't think that's the situation.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, you're back. Okay, get the mercy. Jumping out. I don't think you need to jump out there. You're 463 health. You're totally fine. You do not need to jump right now.
Okay.
You can stay engaged in the fight. You jump, you force out that and that. That's totally fine. You're bubble dancing. Yeah, see, if you had jumped here sooner, you wouldn't have died. 1 health? Come on, dude.
Okay, so is it... One thing I'm seeing myself do a bunch is jump in melee range for damage. Would you consider that a mistake? Like, should I just point my reticle at the enemy and shoot them and then...
I think the thing is like you just need to use the jump at the right times. Like you don't need to use jump when you're max health and you're like leaving the fight. You don't need to jump, and at that point you need to jump on a target and get more aggressive. You know?
Okay.
Because right here you're like 400 health and you're like, yeah, I'm out, bro. I can't win this. Don't do that. Just save jump and like keep poking people until they're forced to look at you, and then your whole team just did something good. They probably got a lot of damage without being looked at. Meanwhile, here, you jump out and then your whole team is left to die. While you're just like, alright, I'm getting health. But like, you don't really need it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, in this situation you need it, but, you know, in situations like a few seconds ago, you don't need to. Right here, if your Mercy's going to heal you, I would just try to break LOS at all costs away from your Mercy so that your Ana can heal for Nano. Or at least tell her, like, hey, give Ana Nano. Alright, playing here to start, it's totally fine, but now your teammate died, so I would probably still just be playing back to make sure that your whole team is ready, which they're not, but again, I don't want to overload you, so I kind of have an idea of what I want to tell you. Okay, you get nanoed. You dodge that, you're on their Ana. You force out CDs, yeah, that was perfection, that was really well done. It's just kind of unlucky because now you don't know what's going. You need to focus something. I'd probably go right back on the soldier or the Ana there.
Okay.
But okay, that's the end of the game. Not bad. There's a lot that could be better though.
Yeah.
Is this your first ever FPS?
It's the first. Yeah, it's the first one that I am trying to get better at.
Take competitively, okay.
Yeah.
So number one, like I said, cooldowns and like kind of understanding what's going on with those, forcing them out, how you should be going about it, what cooldowns are more important to force out, should I be jumping or not? I don't want to. I'm not going to put any subscript on this just because I'm pretty sure we already know what's going on with that. I mean, ask a question if I'm wrong.
No. Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it.
Number two, look. I know. Let's not make this number two. We're just gonna say with the jump to make sure that you're using jump either to engage or to get out, but you have to make sure that those get engagements or non-engagements are at the right times. If I'm at 400 health and I have primal, I'm going to be jumping in. Even if I have 200 health, I'm probably going to be jumping in and then primaling immediately after. There are times when you need to get aggressive, and there's times where you're not, and there's some times where you're getting out when you're just scared. You don't need to be scared. You just need a path a little bit better so that you're not going to be in danger to a Roadhog or something. Okay. And then my third thing, which usually is Vaxta for people, but for tanks, it's kind of like, you don't really need to be doing Vaxta. I think the big thing that you need to be doing is just like the whole thing with looking at the right spots. So looking, I'm just going to say looking, and then you can kind of fill in the notes here, which I think this should be like your most important note of the day, is like these are the ones you want to look at before you play.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you actually look at what you're supposed to be looking at. So like, again, it's like, well, Paz, what should I be looking at? Well, it's really difficult for me to tell you every single situation that you need to be looking at.
Yeah.
The first step is that you take your reticle and you look at something first.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing, because you are not the only person, and there are literal support and DPS players that will look at walls because they think that they're getting more information, when it's like, dude, just look at one angle, clear one really quick, you're good. All right, questions?
Nothing at this point. I mean, I feel like I asked a bunch. Can I ask you, if we have time, like, how should I be using Vaxa to practice looking? Like,
Okay, so I wouldn't even say Vaxta. I would say like literally just playing the game and just like just putting your reticle on people first and seeing how that helps you.
Okay.
I think I mean here's the thing. This is the first time I've ever told someone to do this. So like I hope this helps. If it doesn't, then we can work on it. I think just looking at people first and like what's going on is important. Like making sure like where your eyes are or where your reticle is.
Mm-hmm.
And not like having Ashby here and your reticle's here, the Hanzo's over here on your Mercy, and your eyes are over here. Like if you're gonna look over here, like look at it for real.
Yeah,
don't look at nothing, because then it makes your life so much harder.
Yeah.
Because then it's like when you actually when your eyes go this way, or no, when you look in game this way, your eyes then have to go this way to compensate for that. And there's just a lot going on where you could just avoid a lot of different things if you would just look at it. Obviously, this might mess you up a little bit, but when you start learning what you're supposed to be looking at, I think it might help you.
Yeah, 100%. No,
it'll help you be aware of like what is the more important thing to look at, and you can kind of like you can in your brain be like, okay, Ash is right there, but that's not important because she's full of health and there's a Mercy there. So bam, that decision was made a lot faster, and then you can make the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one, and then holy crap, your Overwatch League.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds that totally makes sense, and I feel like confirms my suspicion that as a silver player, I'm probably missing something really fundamental, and I think that you've identified that.
I don't know if I'd call it even fundamental. Like, this is not easy stuff to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a lot of different stuff. The thing is that it's not as difficult as rocket science. It's more so the fact that there's a lot that you need to sift through, and you need to make sure you're focusing on the right things. And when the content market is so saturated and people succeed just for putting out videos, you're gonna get a lot of misinformation, and it's difficult to like kind of learn.
Yeah.
Because you don't know really what's the most important thing to learn.
100%. Okay, this is super helpful, Pax. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, do you have any other questions, or can I close out the video?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe. I mean, I'm gonna assume that if you weren't subscribed already, you're probably already gone from the video, but for all the homies that watched all the way through, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want your own VOD reviewed, you can go down in the description, or you can just join the Discord, because sometimes I might just be like, holy shit, I need content. I forgot, and I might VOD review someone, but I appreciate you guys all for watching, but until next time, I've got to peace out, and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.